Former State Senator Nancy Schaefer and her husband Bruce were found dead today.
I'm convinced without a shadow of a doubt that the parents across this country need to be warned of the dangers of the Child Protective Services nationwide.
Tonight, GBI crime scene investigators are at her Northeast Georgia home.
Department of Child Protective Services has become a protected empire.
They're searching for clues that might tell them
it's built on taking children and separating families.
What led to the sudden and violent deaths of Miss Schaefer and her husband?
A family is going to have to be destroyed in order for the one world government to completely develop.
Preliminarily looks to be a murder-suicide.
Children are being taken away from their parents in a ruthless kind of behavior.
How do you tame Child Protective Services? It may be only by closing it completely and starting over at the beginning with pro-family values.
One woman, Nancy Schaefer, died. She was killed, trying to find out why these kids are missing and what is going on in the CPS network.
But all of it is based on money, and that's where it's going to have to be cut off. The federal incentives have got to be cut off and be removed on a federal level in order to get this stopped. We have so many families calling that are absolutely delirious. They are so desperate. They do not know where to turn, and actually, they have no place to turn for help. And of course, parents, the poorer the families are, those are the ones who are targeted because they don't have the wherewithal to fight the system or hire an attorney. And they are just caught up in it, and many of them are because their children are blue-eyed or blonde or exactly what someone wants, and those families are targeted. So it is just heartbreaking as to what is going on and what we've got to do in order to bring this to an end. There are some states now that put the children on the internet, and you can just go through their pictures and choose the one you want. And then there are some children that even if you might like to, if a really good person who is really trying to help a child will choose that child, oftentimes then they refuse to let these parents have the child. So if your motives are pure as the driven snow, and you're trying to really help get a child out of that system and give them a new life, oftentimes they won't let the child go. It is one of the most corrupt situations that we could ever have in this country.
I'm going to take a look at an update on the situation of Nancy Schaefer's mysterious death from News from Underground, MarkCrispinMiller.com. And he goes on to talk about the funeral, and this occurred around April 10th, 2010. There were quite a few people, a gathering, 1,000 people that attended the funeral. And it turns out that the Schaefers were receiving death threats that had accelerated. And there was no indication from the husband, Bruce Schaefer, of him being under any kind of stress to commit such an uncharacteristic act. Nancy Schaefer was completing a video exposing the lack of oversight in Georgia's Department of Family and Child Services, as well as CPS nationally. And that video was never made, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. The video was created by William Fain of WilliamFain.com, but he never completed the video. And he took various pieces and was going to edit it, never did. Now, he believed that he knew them very well, and he was convinced their financial problems eventually resulted in the tragedy. Both he and other friends of the family corroborate that Bruce had complained of investment losses, and they received a foreclosure notice on a magnificent home they owned. But there are a lot of unanswered questions that are presented here, and I'm going to read them. Still, many of the couple's friends question whether their financial condition was really severe enough to warrant such an uncharacteristic, drastic action. Burning psychological questions remain, such as, why would Bruce decide to kill himself and his wife because he received a foreclosure notice on a home that they already decided to sell 2 months earlier? Why would Bruce consider the couple's financial situation so severe when their assets still appeared to exceed their secured property debt by several $100,000? And if Bruce was under financial stress, why did he not show any signs of it up to and including the evening of the couple's death? Now, if Bruce was under financial stress, why wouldn't he seek help from any or all of his 5 children who loved him and would have helped? Why would Bruce decide to deprive both he and Nancy of seeing the grandchildren who they love so dearly grow up? And why would Bruce knowingly take a drastic action that would devastate the children and grandchildren who loved him so much? Why would Bruce, who was so highly supportive of Nancy's efforts for decades, including her CPS and DFCS work, decide to kill her just at the peak of one of her most important works? And why would Bruce commit such an act that was so against his faith and completely out of character for him to, according to those who knew him best, do such a terrible act? Why would Bruce jeopardize any chance of the family collecting life insurance benefits by committing suicide and killing his wife? Her death ended her search for answers about the CPS network. In no way am I implying that CPS was responsible for her death or for the missing kids in America. I do believe that there may be more to it, though. Nancy published The Corrupt Business of Child Protective Services, a very interesting document with telling information.
Well, my name is Nancy Schaefer, and I'm from the state of Georgia in the United States. And thank you for your gracious invitation to join you tonight. And thanks to all of you who have made this incredible World Congress of Families #5 in Amsterdam possible. It's a privilege for me to join you tonight and to be with you in some pro-family policy here. I will share with you on the unlimited power of Child Protective Services. I served in the Georgia State Senate, and after 4 years of viewing the ruthless and unsparing actions of Child Protective Services, also called CPS, which I will use tonight, I wrote a scathing report entitled The Corrupt Business of Child Protective Services. Thank you. The report cost me my Senate seat. Here's some copies of the report, if you'd like to get one. However, there are causes worth losing over, and this is one. I'm going to talk about some of the problems and then some realistic, maybe, solutions for families and children, and maybe look to some steps that we can take. This is not to say that there are not those children in wretched situations who need to be removed. There are, and we all agree. But tonight, I'm talking about those children removed from their homes intentionally for profit. Children are seized unnecessarily from their families due to the federal aid created in 1974 entitled the Adoption and Safe Families Act. It offers financial incentives to the states that increase adoption numbers. To receive the adoption incentives or bonuses, local CPS must have more children. They must have more merchandise to sell. Funding is available when a child is placed in a foster home with strangers or placed in a mental health facility and medicated, usually against the parents' wishes. Parents are victimized by the system that makes a profit for holding children longer and bonuses for not returning children to their parents. This is abuse of power. It is lack of accountability. And it is a growing criminal political phenomenon spreading around the globe. Oftentimes, but not always, poor parents are targeted to lose their children because they do not have the wherewithal to hire an attorney or fight the system. Being poor and lacking proper housing does not mean your children should be removed. CPS has redefined poor to mean psychologically inferior. Therefore, it is in the best interest of the child to be removed. Best interest, of course, has also been redefined at the child's expense. It has been reported over and over that 6 times as many children die in foster care than in the general public. Once a child is legally kidnapped and placed in official safety, the child is far more likely to suffer abuse, including sexual molestation and/or rape. Case workers and social workers are often guilty of fraud. They withhold and destroy evidence, and they seek wrongly to terminate parental rights while being protected by state immunity. There is a huge bureaucracy made up of judges, court-appointed attorneys, guardian ad litems, social workers, state employees, court investigators, therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, foster parents, adoptive parents, and on, who are looking to the children in state care for their job security. Judges have control over private living arrangements and income of 48.3 million Americans. The United States Census Bureau reported in 2002 that $40 billion in transfer payments were made between households of custody parents and other parents. That money, $40 billion, is under the direction and control of family court judges in environments covered with confidentiality laws that protect the wrong people. Fathers are victims of this unjust system. Child support payments, even without having visits with their children, are choking the very life out of fathers. 3 fathers, of whom I am aware and have been in touch with, committed suicide in the last 12 months because they lost the opportunity to even visit with their children. These are crimes against humanity for financial gain. Rights are removed from parents, human rights, civil rights, and even religious rights. One illustration of what took place in my district is that after so many calls, I decided to call a meeting in one of the counties of my own district. I personally called 37 families that had been in touch with me who had all lost their children, grandchildren. I had them meet me in the library one Saturday morning. We started at 9 o'clock and we ended at 9 o'clock. We had 50 families standing outside the door that could not get in. We didn't have time to talk with them. There was incredible anguish and profound suffering from these families. Some children had been taken off the school bus, taken out of the hospitals, or taken out of their homes in the middle of the night, and even worse. It was just an incredible ordeal. These parents, trapped in the system, become like refugees. They're dazed and glazed and have no one of whom to turn. They do not know what to do, and the loss of their children is devastating. After having worked in this arena for several years, I do not believe that a single child comes out whole after having been in this system. Many foster children make up the homeless population of today. I introduced legislation, Senate Bill 415, in my last session. A substitute bill was written at the last minute by the chairman of the Judicial Committee. All the strong points of my bill had been compromised. I was told, accept it, Senator. At least you will get some legislation passed. And I answered with, obviously, you do not know me. I did not come to the Capitol to get legislation passed. I came to make a difference. What can be done? An independent audit should be called on every state of all Child Protective Services departments. I am in touch with congressmen and state officials, and the door may be possibly opening very slowly. A federal congressional hearing is needed. But let me add, due to the hundreds upon hundreds of cases that I've been called to consider, I placed calls to state senators, representatives in their respective states across the country, asking them to help me with certain families. And I was told, if I help that family, or if I help you, I will lose my job. Remove, abolish the federal and state financial incentives, and those are taxpayer dollars. Those dollars have turned CPS into a business that takes children and separates families for money. Open family court. Remove the confidentiality laws. Give parents their rights verbally and in writing. I even feel that to terminate the rights of parents, the case should be heard before a jury. Family rights and parents' rights must be protected. We do not need more influence like the UN's Convention on the Rights of the Child. It's anti-parent, anti-child, and anti-common sense for the family. There has to be perseverance for any great reform, and great reform is needed in this area. As Charles Spurgeon put it, how do you tame a lion that is well fed? First, he must be brought down. Second, his stomach must be lowered. How do you tame Child Protective Services? It may be only by closing it completely and starting over at the beginning with pro-family values. In closing, let me remind you that there is case law from state appellate and federal district courts and up to the United States Supreme Court, all of which affirm the constitutionality of the rights of parents to actually be parents to their children. There's biblical law too. It goes like this: speak up for those who can't speak for themselves, and for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy. Thank you.
Now, I saw a YouTube video of her giving a speech, and in 5 minutes, she boiled everything down I try to explain about the CPS and the bounties on taking kids and how there's no due process. She's State Senator 50th District. Senator Schaefer serves her constituency in 8 counties that make up 50th District in Georgia. She's got a long, illustrious career out there fighting corruption. She's also the head in her state of the Eagle Forum. And so she now joins us, and we appreciate her standing up eloquently and fighting this. And so we appreciate Senator Schaefer for coming on. Nancy, it's good to have you here with us.
Thank you. It's good to be on with you. Appreciate all you're doing.
Ma'am, I'm going to try to just sit back and shut up because I'd like you to break down, but with a little bit more time, what you gave in that speech. I know you've given a lot, but I saw this particular speech of you, I believe, before the Eagle Forum, really laying out the facts of just how unconstitutional and Kafkaesque the CPS is.
Right. Well, it is unconstitutional, and I'm sure you have many listeners that know that children are being taken away from their parents in a ruthless kind of behavior by caseworkers and social workers and investigators, and the bureaucracy is very huge. That also includes lawyers and judges and therapists and others who take these children from their parents without a cause. And, of course, we know that money is being made because of this, and I am convinced without a shadow of a doubt that the parents across this country need to be warned of the dangers of the Child Protective Services nationwide. You want me to just continue on, don't you?
Sure, Senator, lay it out.
Well, the Department of Child Protective Services has become a protected empire that we see going on around us, and it's built on taking children and separating families. As a matter of fact, I could throw in here now that it appears to me that the family is going to have to be destroyed in order for the one world government to completely develop. But this is the taking of children by a protected empire, and it's this is not to say today that there are not those children who are really being abused, who need to be removed from the wretched situations that they may be in.
But it needs to be done through due process.
Yes, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the families that are having children removed from them with no cause, and then there is no due process available to them after this has happened. And in one county in my district, I had 37 families brought together one Saturday morning in the library to allow them to, without any press and without any Child Protective Services pressure there, to tell their stories. And it was absolutely unbelievable to hear these parents, single dads, single mothers, telling and other parents telling their stories of how their children had been picked up in the middle of the night, off of the school buses, out of schools, out of hospitals, even while they are nursing, and these families had never seen those children again. You have never seen such agony, such suffering, and such crying. And we had 50 families standing outside the door that were not allowed to come in because we already had 37 families inside. It was truly just seeing the work of the Gestapo coming against these families and taking their children from them, never to be seen again. It was very, very enlightening, that day was, when we saw what was happening in this one Child Protective Services department in one county in my district in Georgia. And not only that, but they had a separate business going on where they required all of these parents to come in multiple times and have drug tests. And they charged the parents every time, so they had a separate business going on. They had already made over $100,000 in this business.
Well, Senator, stay there. Let's come back and break down the abuses of the Bill of Rights Constitution. For those that don't know, they set up, at the turn of the last century, these family courts that don't follow the Bill of Rights Constitution. They were actually set up to carry out racial hygiene, or they were first called eugenics courts. And that's why they're separate, new, and outside of the Bill of Rights Constitution. It's all completely illegal. And it's come out in the news, all these family court judges are getting illegal kickbacks from the private CPS facilities because they're getting federal funds, and they pay the judges, in some cases, millions of dollars apiece. So that's all this is a bounty on your children. We tend to focus on the CPS workers. The real evil's the judges. They're the ones making the big money, and the private groups. Stay with us, Senator. All right, Nancy Schaefer.
You can run on
state head of the Eagle Forum, state senator, 50th district. Well, this is a apropos song to have coming on right now. You can throw your rock, hide your hand, working against the people, and it's just amazing what the establishment are doing as they work against their fellow man. Always advertising how it's for the children. It's a giant industry, and really people with some nasty folks. There's some that just want the money of kidnapping the kids, but the others like to do horrible things with the children. That's been proven and all over the news. Senator, so when did you begin to discover these horrors, and what has your fight been like? I mean, because I know discovering this back 12, 14 years ago and fighting it myself and getting calls at hospitals when a newborn baby's literally jerked off the mother's breast with no judge's order even. I mean, it shook me to the core. It's made me actually cry when you're around the families and see the pain, because it's worse than a death. When grandma dies, she's old, you love her, but you expect it to happen, and it's sad. But when you see families with the joy turned into a nightmare with their young being snatched, it hits you at a core level. And frankly, it tears your guts out. And then I'm going to be honest, then you want to kill people. Senator, I mean, tell us about your journey, and then more of the horrors.
Well, it has been horrible. It really has. And let me just say up front here now that my writing the corrupt business of Child Protective Services, which you probably have read at some point or another, that prompted me, of course, to give the speech at Eagle Forum for the conference last year, at the end of the year. I lost my Senate seat over this. And in working, and let me say that there are causes worth losing over, so it hasn't distressed me that much. It's just given me more time to work on this issue and other issues. But in calling around the country to other state representatives and senators, asking them would they help this family or that family that have been contacting me, they have told me that if they help, if they do anything, they will lose their job. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, it's a mafia.
And, of course, it cost me my Senate seat. But that's okay. That's okay. We're moving forward. We're exposing what is being done. And you mentioned a few minutes ago about the judges and the money. I wanted to share with you that the Census Bureau has reported that in 2002, $40 billion in transfer payments were made between households. That money is under the direction and the control of family court judges.
And that's only the tip of the iceberg, of course.
That's right.
You break this down so well, but there's bounties on children's heads.
Yes, there are. As a matter of fact, we just learned a few days ago that an order had even been placed to one of our Child Protective Services departments for a particular kind of child that they wanted. So there is a bounty on these children. As a matter of fact, when you break it down as to exactly what is happening to promote these financial incentives, you have to go back to the Adoption and the Safe Families Act that was set in motion in 1974 by Walter Mondale, and then later was expanded upon by President Bill Clinton in 1997. And what this act did is it offered cash bonuses to the states for every child they adopted out of foster care. So in order to receive the adoption incentive bonuses, local Child Protective Services need more children. They must have merchandise, which is the children, that sells. And you must have plenty so that the buyer can choose. Some counties are known to give $4,000 to $6,000 bonus for each child adopted out to strangers, and an additional $2,000 for special needs children. And of course, this money just continues to follow the child for years and years and years. And the employees work to keep those federal dollars flowing.
And that's why 67% of children nationally, and that happens to be the average in Texas as well, we have the state hearings on this, are on multiple psychotropic drugs, because once they give them a designation, then the cash amount goes way up.
That's right. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. There's a baseline number. There's a baseline number that of expected adoptions based on population for each state. For every child that DHR or Child Protective Services or whatever it's called in your particular state can get adopted, there's this bonus of 4,000 to 6,000.
All right, Senator Schaefer, stay there. I'm sorry, we've got to break. That was a short segment. Long segment coming up. I want to get into what you just talked about, the ordering certain children. We know the blonde-haired, blue-eyed gets the top cash, and that's been confirmed. So they're trafficked. Anyways, ma'am, please continue with the bounties, because we've confirmed these, but you separately brought them up. For folks that don't know, the adoption agencies put out little bounties. This is all even done on the up and up, but there's also a little under the table. Tell us about the bounties on people's children.
Certainly, these children come with bounties because we know that the incentives are available there. The federal incentives are available, and they can be 4,000 or 6,000. But actually, there is a beginning formula in which each bonus is multiplied. And this sounds complicated. It really isn't, but this is what the states go by. Each bonus is multiplied by the percentage that the state has managed to exceed its baseline adoption number. Therefore, the states and local communities work hard to reach their goals for increased numbers of adoptions for children in foster care. So, therefore, you get to the end of the year and a Child Protective Services department in some state or in a county there in the state may not have taken as many children as they need to, and they have their formula or their bonus increases on the wall, and it tells exactly how many more children they need by the end of the year.
So it's just like a sales shop at a car dealership. They got the sales manager. You're not going to reach your goal, Bob.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
In the cases I saw, in this one case, there was this auto mechanic and his young wife, and she had tested positive 3 years before. They don't tell you when you're at the hospital. They're testing your blood, and they go, she's got marijuana in her. No judge, no jury, no second test, no process. They come and take the blonde-haired, blue-eyed baby. Well, this is 3 years later, and so they contacted my show, and they said, we're pregnant, we're going back in the hospital, we just want to make sure they don't try to take them. They call. I leave the radio that day. I drive down there. I go in with a camera. The cops say, turn your camera off. I say no. We open the door up, and the cop, and Mike Hansen was a witness to this. The camera doesn't pick it up very well. Mike Hansen was there. He got there even before me, and the cop actually had his hand on her neck making her sign it. You can't make this stuff up. This country's so gone, folks. And because they have special CPS cops just assigned to them who are particularly devilish. And they took the baby off her breast, the newborn baby, disappeared. And then we go to the court. They didn't even fill out the right name. They said the baby was 3 years old and that this lady had done all this abuse. The forms aren't just lies. They're so lazy and so criminal, they don't even care. They just use old forms and on. Have you ever seen that, Senator?
Well, I haven't exactly seen that. I do know that they take children right out of the hospitals, and sometimes they're 1 or 2 days old. But the caseworkers and social workers oftentimes, very often, are guilty of fraud, and they do withhold the evidence, and they fabricate the evidence. And their whole goal is to terminate the parental right of the parents. And parents are just left at the mercy, and all of this in the best interest of the child. Those words, in the best interest of the child, have been redefined. It's not in the best interest of the child. The bottom line is taking the children for money.
And the law was written, for those that don't know, I'd like you to speak to this because I know you're an expert on it, so you can speak to it. It was written to where, we're supposed to keep the family together and give it to grandparents or the other spouse. Grandparents are now, don't like how the parents are operating. They advertise on TV to tattle. The grandparents go and tattle, and then they don't get the children 9 times out of 10. Yes.
There are lots of grandparents that cannot get their grandchildren, even when it would be best if say the parents are on drugs. Someone does need to have access to those children, but oftentimes the grandparents are turned down Now, there is a policy that you're supposed to secure a relative immediately for those parents, but oftentimes that relative is never sought out. The grandparents are never given the children, and a stranger then comes in and takes over the lives of those children. And there is absolutely no financial resource or no real drive to unite the family back together or to keep them together or to provide any effective care for the family. That is completely gone. Now it's destroying the family.
Well, right out of high school, I learned about this because for the summer I worked for a large carpet cleaning place. And we would go to these houses, because, we might go to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 houses a day sometimes, and I'd say, what is this? And it'd be usually a middle-class house, 5-bedroom. Parts of it be nice. There'd be rooms locked. There'd be kids walking around, in shorts with their shirts off, ages 3 to 10. There'd be marijuana smoke. There'd be some fat. It always looked the same. Some pervert-looking adult, and then because you'd be in a 2-man team, and I was with the older guy who knew about it. He goes, "Oh, this is some foster parent house." And I'm not attacking all foster parents, folks, but I saw what it is. It's lazy potheads or alcoholics that get 4 or 5 kids, and that's their business, is they warehouse them, and they're always getting caught killing them or locking them up or giving them 1 hot dog a day, bread and water, because they want all that money for their drug habit. And that's why I've seen statistics of foster parents being 5 times more likely to abuse children than any other group.
You're exactly right. The children are much more likely to be abused in foster care than at home with their own parents. The beginning of this journey for me began with a grandmother who was trying to get her 2 granddaughters in one of the counties in my district. The Child Protective Services had removed the 2 little girls from their mother, who was very young, and they based it on the fact that there was an unopened can of beer in the front of her car. They took these 2 little girls over to an adjoining county, put them in foster home over there where they had 18 children, all kinds of little rooms downstairs in the lower level of this home. And one of the caseworkers in that county was a pedophile.
Of course.
Who lived in that home and regularly sexually molested the children who were in the foster care.
Ugh.
When this came up in court, I went to court with this grandmother and sat in the back of the courtroom. And we had a good attorney that day who pulled the walls down, who cross-examined one of the older children in this foster home, and she admitted that there was an inappropriate relationship between the foster mother and the caseworker. And then it got a little worse, and then the juvenile court judge got all nervous and said, "Counsel, meet me in my chambers," and they went out and stayed 5 minutes and came back, and our attorney just looked at us and out loud said, "It's nothing but legal kidnapping." That's all it is, legal kidnapping. But let me tell you what happened.
Did they get the child back?
We pressed, it's called DFACS in Georgia, and we pressed and pressed and pressed. The judge said those children will be removed within a week. Well, a week was gone, 10 days was gone, the children were still there. We kept leaning on them to get those children out of there. And out of the blue, someone called this grandmother in Florida to tell her that they were bringing the children from Georgia to the state line. Would she drive up to pick them up? She, of course, said she would be there. She got the children. They didn't have any clothes. One was not wearing shoes. Mm-hmm. She took them home. And within 3 days, that juvenile court judge drew up a new order, and she gave the 2 little girls to their father, who lived on the West Coast, who had never been involved in their lives, and who was involved in adult entertainment. I pulled his business up on the Internet. Pornographic. Awful.
That's why they gave it to him. And in fact, you come to the next point, Senator.
Within 3 days, that father was knocking on the door of that grandmother and took those 2 little girls screaming and crying to the West Coast.
Well, it's better than in that death pit down there in that house with all those little kids. Now,
right.
Now, for those that don't know, I found out about this because I walked into these pits, and I probably only saw that summer 7 or 8 of them, but I mean, they were all the same.
That's horrible.
And literally they're hell pits. And I'm, Senator, you notice everything I've told you, you've seen the same thing, because we've had the same similar experience, fighting this. And I just do it a little bit of the time. Frankly, I psychologically shy away from it because it's so, well, it just makes me feel...
It does take its toll on you.
It makes me feel very aggressive. It makes me want to... But the point is that when it comes right down to it, how many Homeland Security deputy directors of states have been caught with little kids? How many senators and congressmen, with the pages, and how many DHS officials, that want to stop child abuse, it turns out, are pedophiles? When you get down to it, you got a couple groups. You got parents that were, you've got children who were abused, who think that all parents are abusive and they're gonna punish the family. Because I went to college with some people that were going to be social workers, and you'd be out drinking beer, and the girl would say, I just can't wait to take kids from these bad parents because I was abused. So there's those mentally ill people. Then there's pedophiles who want access to kids, and then there's scumbags that just want money. And I got to say, that's basically what makes up CPS in my experience. And I think, from what I've seen, I'd probably say 30% of them are pedophiles. And and the problem is this crime rate, this crime spree is growing.
Yes, it is.
So can you comment on that? And where is this going? How do we stop them?
Well, I would say that there are definitely pedophiles in the system. There's no question about that, because we know where there's children, there are pedophiles. They're in schools and they're in churches and they're everywhere where they can get their hands on children. So we know that that's true. And it's got to be brought to an end. It's got to be completely exposed for what it is. And in my opinion, it needs to completely be dissolved. I don't see any good left in child protective services. As far as picking up a child that's being totally abused, the police could do that just as well as child protective services.
And then you have due process. And exactly. Well, take Texas. Did you hear about the Texas Youth Commission?
I don't know.
There's so many crimes. I'm not knocking you if you haven't.
You're not talking about all those children in Texas that were picked up at one time.
No, that was with that Mormon sect.
Right.
Did you hear about how the child jails and the child facilities had organized pornographic rings and big rape parties for the children, and the state police found out about it and then weren't allowed to stop it, and now they forced the director out because he did the right thing?
I have heard about that in other states, but I have not heard about what happened in Texas, no.
Okay, well, here in Texas, it came out that every major facility was doing stuff that people wouldn't even believe. You can read it in the mainstream news. Now, they used that to pass a law for more money for the agencies. I'm sure you heard about Florida, where it turned out the directors were pedophiles and 3,000 kids were missing and all that. What did they get? More money, more power. The incredible thing is, the worse they get, the more money and power they get.
It appears that way. But all of it is based on money, and that's where it's going to have to be cut off. The federal incentives have got to be cut off and be removed on a federal level in order to get this stopped.
And that's where we go now in the closing minutes we have left in this interview, Senator. And again, we can only commend you and pray for you in this fight, and then politically going after you. Solutions. But before we hit that, I wanted to finish up. Specific orders for specific children that look a specific way. You've now saying you've discovered that.
Right. We have discovered that. We haven't discovered it in every state, but we've discovered it in many states, and we have so many families calling that are absolutely delirious. They are so desperate. They do not know where to turn, and actually, they have no place to turn for help. And, of course, parents, the poorer the families are, those are the ones who are targeted because they don't have the wherewithal to fight the system or hire an attorney. And they are just caught up in it, and many of them are because their children are blue-eyed or blonde or exactly what someone wants, and those families are targeted. So it is just heartbreaking as to what is going on and what we've got to do in order to bring this to an end.
Have you ever heard about what the former head FBI agent in Southern California discovered about the CPS, even in the 80s? They have public auctions, closed auctions in Las Vegas with the kids on the block. These people.
Well, man. We have some states now that put the children on on the internet, and you can just go through their pictures and choose the one you want.
See how pure evil's just right out in the open now, like it's no big deal.
And then there are some children that even if you might like to, if a really good person who is really trying to help a child will choose that child, oftentimes then they refuse to let these parents have the child. So if your motives are pure as the driven snow, and you're trying to really help get a child out of that system and give them a new life, oftentimes they won't let the child go.
No, they want client houses where they warehouse the kids, a lot of times locked up, and they've ruled, they can legally lock them up and stuff in these little cages. They only want client foster parents that want to run the money in and put them on drugs because that's shared with the local CPS.
Right. It's just, it is one of the most corrupt situations that we could ever have in this country. And
yeah, well, what we need is to take the country back, have mass trials, and hang about 10,000 of these people high. Because this rivals the Nazis. By the way, the Nazis had CPS. That's how they started grabbing people's kids. The year Hitler was elected in 1933, he was a eugenicist. We'll be right back with the senator. Stay with us. What are solutions to fight these demons? I mean, we just get the public educated, what we're doing now, about their rights, get bigger organizations together to fight them, Congress, state laws, because we always push to get state laws to stop them, and they always take it over and get more power out of us trying to lobby to reform. How do we beat pure evil?
Very, very strong bill that I introduced to correct it here in the state of Georgia, and of course that bill was defeated. I also had several parents lined up to come down and do a video, and the video was defeated. And then, of course, I lost my Senate seat. So there's a huge battle over this, and many states don't want to let that money go that they've gotten used to. And one thing we haven't mentioned that I'd like to bring out is how huge the bureaucracy is. It is made up of caseworkers and social workers and attorneys and guardian ad litem and judges and psychiatrists and psychologists, and it goes on and on. The bureaucracy is huge, made up of people who look to the children in Child Protective Services for their job security. And none of these people want to let this be brought to an end.
In fact,
this is where they get their paycheck.
And it's not being brought to an end. It's radically expanding.
Absolutely it is, and they're expanding with it. And we can see the children that are already being sent into mental health facilities. I had a mother that 2 children were put in mental health facilities, and of course that brings in Medicaid, and these 2 children were on 16 drugs a day.
Good Lord.
So it is corrupt to its absolute core, and we must stand against it. We must keep talking about it. And families that are listening to us today that are caught up in this, they need to continue to fight the system.
Okay, Senator, I got to stop you. We got 45 seconds. What about websites, or how do folks get a copy of your bill to get it passed in their state? I got to have you back for more solutions, but contact info, groups you recommend.
There are just worlds of groups that they can recommend, or they can contact me at Eagle Forum of Georgia.
Just Google Eagle Forum of Georgia, or there's also the Senator Nancy Schaefer website as well. Nancy Schaefer, we want to have you back up. God bless you. You're a true angel, and we appreciate your courage. I know it's hard to do what you do because it's so hard. God bless you. Thank you, Senator.
Yeah. You know, I know a lot of you are going through the very same things that I'm going through right now. Just hold your head up. Hi, Luca. Daddy loves you. I'm on my way. Hi, buddy, don't let go. Daddy's on his way and I'm in control. Hold on, Luca, honey, don't let go. Daddy's on his way and I'm in control. Hi, buddy, don't let go. Daddy's on his way and I'm in control. Hold on, Luca, honey, don't let go. Daddy's on his way and I'm in control. All I know is pain, all I know is sorrow. Look into these eyes and you see that they be hollow. No future for tomorrow, I will beg or borrow. Whatever it takes, whoever's bones I have to break. Even if I have to take fate into my own hands to make sure that we're reunited once again. Come on, sing it with me now, sing it with me now. Yeah. Hi, buddy, don't let go. Daddy's on and I'm in control. Hold on, Luca, honey, don't let go. Daddy's on his way and I'm in control. Hold on, Makai, buddy, don't let go. Daddy's on his way and I'm in control. Hold on, Luca, honey, don't let go. Daddy's on his way and I'm in control. If I could have one wish, and that wish would be my kids. We'd be out doing shit that all the other families did. Taking you to practice, Luca to gymnastics. Watch your first backflip, that's the shit that I miss. Tell me what did I do, they don't deserve this. Tell me what's the purpose, to reverse this curse which social services has placed upon us. Yeah. Hold on, Makai, buddy, don't let go. Daddy's on his way and I'm in control. Hold on, Luca, honey, don't let go. Daddy's on his way and I'm in control. Hold on, Makai, buddy, don't let go. Daddy's on his way and I'm in control. Hold on, Luca, honey, don't let go. Daddy's on his way and I'm in control. I don't always do what's right, but I do what's needed. I'm the father's right champion, I can't be defeated. Without you in my life, kids, I feel incompleted. The courts are so blind, but I'ma make them see it. You gotta believe it, his daddy loves you both. I just want you to know that. Even though it seems hopeless, don't give up hope yet. Come on, sing it with me now. Sing it with me now, yeah. Hold on, Makai, buddy, don't let go. Daddy's on his way and I'm in control. Hold on, Luca, honey, don't let go. Daddy's on his way and I'm in control. Hold on, Makai, buddy, don't let go. Daddy's on his way and I'm in control. Hold on, Luca, honey, don't let go. Daddy's on his way and I'm in control.
Hold on, baby, Daddy's on his way, way. You gotta hold on, baby, Daddy's on his way. And I'm trying so hard, fighting so hard, trying and I'm fighting for you. And I won't ever leave you, Daddy's coming home, fighting so hard for you. And I can't breathe without you, or dream without you, sleep without you. I can't breathe without you, dream without you, sleep without you.
Guys, 1 in 3 families is affected by some form of parental alienation. You know somebody, I know somebody, we all know somebody. Guys, we gotta keep continuing to spread this awareness. We need to be coming together and breaking the silence. We need to start getting here and taking some action and accountability and stop sitting on the couch. Get off the couch, because that don't do nothing for nobody. I'm Philly Slimm. Don't forget, what we do today, it affects our tomorrow.
Courts have a financial incentive to take our children from us, to take us as parents, most often fathers, but also mothers. They reduce us down to visitors to justify child support order. And when they justify child support order, the state then receives federal funding through what's known as Title 4D of the Social Security Act.
I did a great job and raised them myself pretty much. Their mom did what she had to do to help out, but she didn't allow the system to come in and force me to raise my own kids.
My daughter died, no one told me, and her mother still collected child support.
Let's go, Sarah. Come on, sweetie. Yeah, I understand, sweetie.
You know, I know a lot of you are going through the very same things that I'm going through right now.
I spent 15 years in prison because I didn't have my biological father there to influence me.
Anything you want to say? Being accused of shooting a cop, killing him.
Society not letting me see my son. I lashed out at somebody that didn't deserve it.
85% of youths in prison were raised by single moms.
I haven't seen my son since November.
Like I said, I got one I ain't seen in 15 years.
I haven't seen my kids since December 2013.
I've been on house arrest for 2 years now for wanting to be in my daughter's life and being a father.
This doesn't just happen to men, this also happens to women. Mothers are alienated as well.
I'm personally a victim of a corrupt family law system.
They're being told
by their father that your mother don't want you. She abandoned you. Do you know what this is doing to my children?
As President of the United States, I will do everything I can to address this inequality that impacts those.
Casualties of war, warriors against the regime.
I didn't know that this was a common situation with divorced parents. Something that really people don't talk about, even if they have gone through it. It was time for me to put my foot down and start talking about it. And when I did that, I got a ton of people coming forward saying, I'm going through the same thing. I thought I was the only one in the world going through this. I wanted to reach out to tell you that I was Sydney once. When my parents divorced, my dad would put things in my head. I would yell at my mom. I call her every name in the book. I would hate my mom so much, but my mom never gave up on me. I'm 39 now. My mom is in my life. I love my mom. One day Sydney will open her eyes. A real parent doesn't tear down the other and let their feelings be known to their kids. Take care, and I will say a prayer for you. Just pray. Just pray for me too.
Thoughts of suicide may feel impossible to overcome, but with help and support, you can find hope and meaning. Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK to speak to a counselor, or visit suicidepreventionlifeline.org. It's free, it's confidential, it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And even if it feels like it, you're not alone.
Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. And all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. Losing friends and I'm chasing sleep. Everybody's worried about me. In too deep. Say I'm in too deep. And it's been 2 years, I miss my home, but there's a fire burning in my bones. Still believe, yeah, I still believe. And all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be strong. on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned up. Starting right now, I'll be strong. I'll blow my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. No, I've still got a lot of fight left in me.
No excuses.
It was such like a tug of war with whose side are you going to choose. I realized like it was just tearing me apart.
It was always, you're on my side or you're dead to me.
The first time my dad saw me, I was in my grandma's arms in a courtroom.
It really felt like she didn't want anything to do with me.
It's hard when you have to stop and think that your child wants nothing to do with you because of what they've been taught.
One parent gets to be a parent and the other gets to be, at best, a visitor, and at worst, completely erased. And a lot of it has to do with our judicial system.
What I remember about being in court was having to lie to the judge. Sorry.
It destroys lives, it bankrupts people every day, it tears children from their homes, and just so happens to be a $50 billion a year industry.
If you don't pay your child support, you're gonna go to jail.
Walter Scott decided to bolt from his car. Court documents show he owed more than $18,000 in child support payments.
These fathers are not deadbeat, they're dead broke.
Nothing I said mattered. None of the evidence I brought forward mattered. The judge wouldn't even look at it.
He's nothing like I was told he was.
If there's 22 million adults dealing with this, that's over 22 million children. And the mental health consequences are severe and long-lasting.
It's heartbreaking to me to see how many of you are dealing with this.
My dad was erased from my life.
It's happening all over the world. This isn't a father's rights issue. It's not a mother's rights issue. It's a human right issue.
My daughter here and I have been alienated from each other for the majority of her life. She called me and said, "Dad, it's time to move home," and she came home.
If the court worked in a way where there was 50-50 custody, I'd be happier. I wouldn't feel a void because I've never known a life where one parent wasn't missing.
A new bill would make default custody 50-50.
How come we don't have shared parenting in the law? It's called special interests.
We need more clarity in law to support what is best for children, shared parenting, and this helps move in that direction.
I want to show people that it can have a happy ending.
In about 10 minutes, we're going to leave for the courthouse so I can legally readopt my daughter.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout,
tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
What's up, everybody? It's Philly Slimm, and I got something important to say. Suicide is something that I struggled with years ago, and I know a lot of us are going through it as alienated parents. But I want you to know that you're not alone. If you're having suicidal thoughts, I need you to call 1-800-273-8255. Everything is confidential, or you could always just text 741-741. You're not alone. I, too, struggle with the same pain. 1-800-273-8255. Don't ever give up.
I remember the day of your birth, the happiest day for me on this earth. You have my heart, you're my child, you're my first, born to me as a gift in this world. My love for you will never end, you should know that. The love is here, kept for you, I'll always show that. You'll forever have a place with me. Don't let anybody try to nurture hate for me. I never thought it would end like this. I never planned just to call it quits. We can plan, but God plans better. Sometimes it's best when people aren't together. I tried to make it work for you. I never wanted it to hurt you too. Sometimes that's just how life goes. But you should always know that I will always show. You're my heart, you're my mind, you're my soul. You have my love, never stops, always grows. Find the truth, avoid the lies, God knows you were born to me as a test in this world. My love for you will never end, you should know that. The love is here, kept for you, I'll always show that. You'll forever have a place with me. Don't let anybody try to nurture hate for me. You were gonna be a daddy's girl. You were always such a happy girl. Frustrated by daddy's constant kisses. I'm glad you're too young to know what you'll be missing. I'll always be there for you. Baba's gonna be here for you. I know your Lord loves you too. Don't let anything get between him and you. Chin up, stay strong, stay firm. Make me proud, success in both worlds. Have faith, dream big, go pray. Be just, never lie, and fear the last day. This world is a test for you. I'll always want the best for you. I only wish to see you grow. But you should always know that I will always show. You're my heart, you're my mind, you're my soul. You have my love, never stops, always grows. Find the truth, avoid the lies, God knows you were born to me as a gift in this world. My love for you will never end, you should know that. The love is here, kept for you, I'll always show that. You'll forever have a place with me. Don't let anybody try to nurture hate for me. You need to know that I tried my best, and through you, God's given me the hardest test. God's tests are for those that he loves, and I know justice will come from above. You were being kept away from me, clinging on, literally pulled away from me. To hurt me, they hurt you too, and now all you can do is look for the truth. There's a lot of bad dads in this world, not me. I'll always be there for my girl. I write to you to show you that I care, and I'll keep the letters safe no matter how many years. Please, never take sides with this. It's the system of Iblis behind all of this. They encourage fighting and lies, aiming to destroy and sever family ties. But those who side with evil never truly win. God is our protector through thick and thin. God knows my intentions are pure. He knows I did my duties as a husband and more. He knows I kept you both safe and secure. Women will forget, but God's keeping score. It's sad, but that's just how this life goes. But you should always know that I will always show. You're my heart, you're my mind, you're my soul. You have my love, never stops, always grows. Find the truth, avoid the lies, God knows you were born to me as a test in this world. My love for you will never end, you should know that. The love is here, kept for you, I'll always show that. You'll forever have a place with me. Don't let anybody try to nurture hate for me. I pray that while we're kept apart, that God will plant me deep in your heart. I'm your father to the end from the start, and I know you'll see the truth. I know he made you smart. You have to come back to me. Your place is with me naturally. I only wish to see you grow, and when we reunite, you see our love flow.
Good.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Oh boy. We just found it. Our back and forth. Victory. Fumble. Repeat. It always came back.
Dad!
Whoa!
You made time.
That was perfect. Okay, here we go, throw it!
Yeah.
You probably don't remember what you told me.
Nice.
But I heard every word.
How does parental alienation affect a child? What do adults say about having lived through the experience of one parent turning them against the other parent so that the relationship was erased? A study of 40 adults by Dr. Amy Baker showed that it significantly hurt their development as people. Losing a parent because of the other parent's wrongful interference deeply affected their sense of identity, how they feel about themselves, and how they feel about the world. The more exposure to parental alienation strategies by an alienating parent, the more likely the kids are to grow up to be depressed, anxious, have insecure relationships, and be stuck developmentally in their life. Adults who were alienated as children have a reduced ability to get along with other people and have healthy, mature relationships. The reason? The favored parent created a dependency which interrupted the normal development of critical thinking skills and ability to resolve conflict. Alienating parents teach children the opposite of what healthy parents teach their children. They never learn to resolve conflict in a respectful way because they never learned good values of forgiveness, generosity, and compassion. It's fairly settled science that exposure to alienation is associated with bad outcomes. Causing parental alienation in a child is a form of psychological maltreatment. To learn more about parental alienation strategies, watch the video 17 Parental Alienation Strategies of One Parent Against Another.
When people hear a Till Valhalla project, the first thing they might think of is our shirts. But what most people don't know is that our plaques came first and the t-shirts came second. What some people might not know is that the same shirts that we make day in and day out allowed us to do unbelievable things for unbelievable people. Whether it's donating our proceeds to reduce veteran suicide or gifting handcrafted memorial plaques to the families of fallen heroes, these t-shirts simply stand for honor and freedom. Two words that wouldn't exist without our heroes. This makes Till Valhalla Project a place our fallen heroes truly live on forever.
If you're struggling with thoughts of suicide, are worried about a friend or loved one, or in need of emotional support, help is available.
Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK to speak to a counselor, or visit suicidepreventionlifeline.org.
It's free, confidential, and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Even if it feels like it, you are not alone.
The anxiety is from you.
I'm sorry this is happening to you. I pay child support, but housing, food, all of that. I'm here because I love you. I want to be here. I'm your father. Don't run away. Let's talk about it.
No. Because I don't want to see you anymore?
Okay. I was in a dark place for far too long. Your mom did everything right, and I did everything wrong. We didn't see eye to eye, baby, but that's another song. I was staying out late, even drinking too much. Every few months, I was back in them cuffs. I was in and out of consciousness, I couldn't wake up. My demons got the best of me, and your mom was there to rescue me. In and out of court, fighting for your brother, started fucking weighing on me heavily. Now she questioned my infidelity. Now proud of my decisions this week was Tanya, Rachel, and Melody. And it haunts me like it was yesterday, so dark that there was no telling me. And I didn't care if I got caught, been here regardless of what you were taught. There's some sick people in the world, but none of that's your fault. Come on.
Some things don't work out the way we plan, and sometimes things don't go hand in hand. Forever I love you, always I'm yours, and it's not your fault anymore.
I never gave up on you, I just didn't wanna put you through what your brother's going through. It's been 10 years now and I see what it could do. I spent so much energy on him that baby I lost sight of you. And at the time I didn't see it like that. I had to mature to who I am today in order to look back. It's not rocket science, it's how you react. We're measured on our faults even when we bounce back. Fall in love with the opposites, cause opposites attract. I just want you to know that I love you no matter what.
Some things don't work out the way we plan, and sometimes things don't go hand in hand. Forever I love you, always I'm yours, and it's not your fault anymore.
I tried ending my life many times ago, but I put in my time, cause I kept you on my mind. No, it was you who made me the man I am today. All those nights I sat up and prayed, wishing that your moms would forgive me someday and put the past away. See, she hates my fight and she wants me gone. She loved me that much, for hate that strong. You gotta let it go, shit, it's time to move on. We carry the past around so much, it's like a ticking time bomb. It's the system in place, I'm not pissed off at your mom.
Some things don't work out the way we plan, and sometimes things don't go hand in hand. Forever I love you, always I'm yours, and it's not your fault anymore.
It's not your fault. Raised solely on your mother's beliefs, with a stepdad who has no balls to compete. See, he thought he was the boss and the chief, and your mother's just pissed off she can no longer have a relationship with me. She's mad, and in turn she takes it out on you with no burden of proof, because a narcissist will do whatever a narcissist has to do to take the blame off them and put it on you. When this chapter is ended, you'll be homeward bound. See, all this time we've been apart, I've been rewriting my wrongs, cause lost time is never found. If that's how you feel, bud, we don't have to do any visits. I won't force you to do anything. How's that sound?
Good.
I love you, I want you to know that, and I'm very proud of you.
Cool.
The path to recovery. It's a long road. It's hard. It takes time. But you're never alone.
I hope the days come easy and the moments pass slow, and each road leads you where you wanna go. And if you're faced with a choice and you have to choose, I hope you choose the one that means the most to you. And if one door opens to another door closed, I hope you keep on walking till you find the window. If it's cold outside, show the world the warmth of your smile. But more than anything, more than anything, my wish for you is that this life becomes all that you want it to. Your dreams stay big, your worries stay small. You never need to carry more than you can hold. And while you're out there getting where you're getting to, I hope you know somebody loves you and wants the same things too. Yeah, this is my wish. May all your dreams stay big.
Dear Mom and Dad, I know that you are hurting. I'm hurting too. I feel and feed off your tension, fear, and shock. Although I am young and cannot express verbally what is happening in our lives, I am still feeling the impact. My heart is broken every time I have to give up a parent. My sense of security is lost. Please don't assume that I am resilient. Please don't assume that my life will be exactly as it was, and that I will continue to feel the same love from both of you. I am a human being just like you. My needs are just like yours. I need love, attention, nurturing, stability, consistency, affection, understanding, patience, and mostly to be wanted. When you fight over me or put me in the middle of your argument, you are sending me the message that winning with each other is more important than my life. I am learning from you that it is better to be right than to be loved. You are teaching me that I came from a person who is unlovable and wrong, and that I am somehow wrong too. When you confide your hurt in my heart, you are storing up adult pain and robbing me of my childhood. You are taking away my belief that love is unconditional and replacing it with a message that tells me to become hard and not to love because I will get hurt and not be able to recover. You may not understand this today, and I am so small that you are not thinking about my future, but you are putting me at a greater risk of getting a divorce myself. At times you are risking my safety to fill a void in your heart. My safety is your job. Without you and your protection, I am unshielded from the world. This will manifest in irrational fears for me, because I will stay in a state of fight or flight for most of my life. Someday, this initial shock will wear off, but how you choose to parent me through this crisis will never wear off. I will either feel your sense of selflessness, support, protection, or I will have a scar on my heart with a message that reads, "Good things happen to good people. I must be bad." Thoughtfully, the child of divorce.
If you're struggling with thoughts of suicide, there is hope and there is help. You matter. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The calls are free and confidential. Call 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255. You are not alone.
Standing in your ruins feels a lot like the end. So used to losing, you're afraid to try again. Right now all you see are ashes where there was a flame. Truth is that you're not forgotten, 'cause grace knows your name. God's not done with you, even with your broken heart and your wounds and your scars. God's not done with you, even when you're lost and it's hard and you're falling apart. God's not done with you. It's not over, it's only begun. So don't hide, don't run, 'cause God's not done with you. There's a light you don't notice until you're standing in the dark. And there's a strength that's growing inside your shattered heart. Whoa. God's not done with you, even with your broken heart and your wounds and your scars. God's not done with you, even when you're lost and it's hard and you're falling apart. God's not done with you. It's not over, it's only begun. So don't hide, don't run, 'cause God's not done with you. He's got a plan, this is part of it. He's gonna finish what he started. He's got a plan, this is part of it. He's gonna finish what he started. He's not done. God's not done writing your story. No, he's not done. God's not done with you. Even with your broken heart and your wounds and your scars. God's not done with you. He's not done even when you're lost and it's hard and you're falling apart. God's not done with you. It's not over, it's only begun. So don't hide, don't run, 'cause God's not done with you. God's not done writing your story. No, he's not done. God's not done with you.
I found that with depression, one of the most important things you could realize is that you're not alone. You're not the first to go through it. You're not going to be the last to go through it. And oftentimes it happens. You feel like you're alone, and you feel like it's only you, and you're in your bubble. And I wish I had someone at that time who could just pull me aside and, hey, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. So I wish I knew that. Just got to remember. Hold on to that fundamental quality of faith. Have faith that on the other side of your pain is something good.
When you love someone, you love them not only despite their fragility, but also because of it. They wouldn't be who they were if they weren't fragile and limited in their particular way. When you have a sick kid, it's like, oh my God, how can the world be constituted so that a child can unfairly suffer in this manner? You can't have them being vulnerable and cute and interesting and small and needing care but striving to develop and grow without them also being prone to pain and destruction and vulnerability. And then what do? You teach them to be strong. That's what you do. You don't get rid of the vulnerability. You teach them to be strong. You don't protect your children. In fact, you do the opposite. You expose them to the world as much as you possibly can, and you make them strong. That's the best antidote to their vulnerability. The first noble truth of Buddhism, life is suffering. This is true, and it's worse than that because it's suffering contaminated by malevolence. And so that's very pessimistic. But the optimistic part is that you are so damn tough you can actually not only deal with that, you can improve it. It's like, oh, Well, that's a horrible situation, but it turns out that I'm armed for the task. Well, that's a great thing for people to know. I think the fact that we're armed for the task is even more true than the fact that life is catastrophe contaminated by malevolence. We're stronger than things are terrible. And I do believe it's the case because I've watched people do very difficult things, like people who work in palliative care wards. So all they're ever dealing with is pain and death, right? And they can do it. They get up in the morning, they go to work, and they take care of those people. They lose people on a weekly basis, and yet they can do it. And what that shows is that if you turn around and you confront the suffering voluntarily, you find out that you are way tougher than you think. It's not that life is better than you think. Life is as harsh as you think. It might even be worse, but you are way tougher than you think if you turn around and confront it. It's a very good thing to know, and it's not naive optimism. It's a very different thing. It's like, no, things are terrible, they're brutal, and you are so damn tough, you can't believe it.
We go by many names. Dad, Padre, sometimes old man. Usually it's Daddy. Daddy's the favorite. But they all mean the same thing. They all mean father, a man in relationship with his children. We're the Father's Rights Movement. Because every child deserves a father. We're working for justice in the family court system. Support father's rights. Come join us today.
Suicide is not inevitable for anyone. There's no shame in seeking help. And there are resources available if you or a loved one is contemplating suicide. Here are 5 key steps that you can take to help someone who is struggling.
Ask, are you thinking about committing suicide? Listen to their reasons for emotional pain, and then help them refocus on their reasons for living.
Keep them safe. Put time and distance between the person and potential suicide methods.
Be there for them. In person, over the phone, or however else you can.
Connect them to helpful resources, like the National Suicide Prevention Hotline.
And follow up. Text, call, or see them in person to help reinforce their connectedness to the world.
Please click the link below for further information on suicide prevention resources.
In representation of the people, I'm here to deliver this message. Our purpose for this stand, no matter how small or great, regardless of what supporting turnout shall be, is to better the lives of the innocent, the children, who are too young to advocate for themselves and should not have to suffer the anguish and confusion, nor fall victim to theft of their inalienable right to proper emotional development. We are the people, the driving force behind our city's economic stability through honest hard work. We are your postal service, your plumbers, your teachers. We are your grocery workers, farmers, and emergency response services. We are your tradesmen and women alike. We are your voters. We are not criminals or violent offenders. We are parents who only seek justice through your actions, that all are created equal, and the pursuit of happiness that is endowed through the responsibility of being a parent should no longer be a pursuit. For the perpetual rulings that have taken place in both this county and state have been supported by legislation that violates our 5th and 14th Amendments habitually through lack of an opportunity to contest the appropriateness of such orders. This political acceptance has created unjust, long-term outcomes that have resulted in the deprivation of any interest in liberty or property without due process. These government actions have greatly affected the happiness of our children and the safety of our society. The psychological destruction of our communities and social structure has given us no choice other than to unite in a peaceful demand of the alteration of both state and local definition and jurisdiction of both domestic violence and limitations of rights to visitation. We demand, following the conception of a child, regardless of the production of marriage or not, that both parents shall immediately be designated as having the right to equal time, unless one parent can produce, without reasonable doubt, why these parental rights should be modified. We demand that no one parent be able to deny the opposite of that right, and that any such denial of a child shall be unlawful. We demand that both local and state governments will pursue conviction and reasonable consequence of any such act only after putting the best interest of the child first. We look forward to hearing your response. This is the Krue movement, a stand for fathers' rights. And this message is a message for equal parenting rights for all parents in all states and all jurisdictions. I want you to imagine for a minute. Imagine a life that led you to a dream. Then, what once was a dream turned into a passion. Imagine that passion getting you so close to your dream, you can taste it. But then life gives you something even better than that dream. Then imagine a broken system that takes away the most important aspect of your life. What do you do then? I don't know about you, but I'm gonna take that passion and take that dream and use it to remove every single irrational and incompetent mind that did this. I'm gonna do it for something better. And to all those who did this, I suggest you remember me.
King County Superior Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Amini presiding.
Good morning, everyone. Please all be seated. This is King County cause number 14-3-04-395-7. K&T designation.
It don't make sense if the kids fall victim, trapped in the fine lines of the court system. My 2-year-old was stripped from my arms, restrained completely and given to a mom. And there wasn't even one cat call, no violent reports at all. But they hit me with a DV charge, civil court, no arrest, yet I took the fall. Tell me now how any of this is okay. Dad's right there, suddenly he goes away. How's a toddler gonna comprehend that? How's a mom's not gonna condemn that? And all I ever asked for was equal time, but the judge looked at me like my daughter ain't mine. Ripped me apart no matter how hard I try. Over and over, trust me, it ain't right. Sorry that I'm not there. It's not that I don't care, but your moms won't let me. One day I know you'll see. It was lies written about me. When you meet me, I'll be right here, right here, right here. Sorry that I'm not there. It's not that I don't care, but your moms won't let me. One day I know you'll see. It was lies written about me. When you meet me, I'll be right here, right here, right here. We all wanna fight for the equal rights put in the media's light, but people just don't see what I'm talking about here really ain't just me. We in 2015, not 83. Ask any professional what the babies need. That's a mom's and a dad, not just half of that. And it looks to me like we're lacking that, cause the system is biased and that's a fact. Judge Susan Amini didn't believe me out here in King County. My daughter's without me. When a mom wants to take a kid, it's that easy. Ex parte and there's no peace treaty. Christine Robinson was the bailiff involved. Looked at me like this is all my fault. Delayed my time on a 5-day trial. Gave me 2 days, said I would be fine though. Tell me now how they rush this process. The statistics expose this nonsense. 85% in favor of the mom. How can a working man try those odds? Fight for my time, how am I wrong? Stood for my rights, it cost me it all. Held my ground now for my daughter. Show me the evidence why I can't be a father. Sorry that I'm not there. It's not that I don't care, but your moms won't let me. One day I know you'll see. It was lies written about me. When you need me, I'll be right here, right here, right here. Sorry that I'm not there. It's not that I don't care, but your moms won't let me. One day I know you'll see. It was lies written about me. When you need me, I'll be right here, right here, right here.
Order establishing residential scheduled parenting plan child support has a restraining order and that continues for a year from today. The court has some requirements for you to do, and that is that you complete the domestic violence offender treatment program, and you set up a direct reporting by the treatment provider agency to provide monthly reports from the agency directly to the mother and to the legal file under seal. You also will complete a mental health assessment at the state certified agency, report to the mother, and file a copy to the legal file under seal.
There was a parenting plan that did not accuse of any domestic violence. I was not educated on domestic violence prior to coming into this court. My assumption was this particular situation, this court, is for the best interest of the child. I've now found a document that I was never served. This is coming from the petitioner, who failed to confirm on 3 different occasions, was found to be intransigent, has withheld the child without good cause after I entered a parenting plan in good faith. At this point, all I am trying to do is comply with the court, put my best foot forward to do everything that this court has asked to the best of my financial and physical ability, and to see my daughter, who I have not seen in 159 days.
Aria, come here real quick. Daddy wants to say goodbye to you.